No! Howdy everyone, it's Camille, and today is day 3 of training this big scaredy cat over here. This morning I actually went out and had like a 5-minute session with him. Just in the... Jeez, chill out, horses. This morning I actually went out and had like a 5-minute session with him before I had to leave for class. And I just made it a point to spend some quality time with him. I didn't ask him to move his feet at all, or really do anything we hadn't worked on yet. So I just came up, rubbed on his face, rubbed on his neck, rubbed on his shoulders, and then I put a little braid in his mane. And by the time I finished that braid, he was sitting there all relaxed, and he closed his eyes, and he yawned, and he licked, and he chewed. And so that's when I decided to end it, because he, for the first time probably, relaxed while I was around him. So that's going to be the biggest part of this big guy's training, is getting him to relax around me, because he's already picking up on certain things really well. He knows his directions moving around this pen, and he more or less lets me get a bit of control of his feet. He picks up on my body language really well. The biggest thing he needs to learn is how to trust me. So that's what we're going to be working on in the coming days, because that's far more important than any sort of groundwork maneuver you can do with your horse. Big boy. Hey, buddy. Touch the stick. Good boy. Good job. See? Good boy. He can move pretty quick for a big guy. Yeah, you can. Hi, big boy. So this is what I did this morning. I just kind of stood here and let him relax around me. I think that's where I'll start today. And this head on his neck is looking a little better, but it's still got a little ways to go before I feel comfortable putting a halter on his head. Oh, you didn't like that, did you? Here. Oh, bud. Come on now. I don't have cooties. I don't have cooties, I promise. Oh, good boy. There you go. Good boy. Yeah, are you licking and chewing now? when we kind of do everyday things around these more skittish Mustangs, I think that teaches them more than any sort of groundwork ever could. Just making it not a big deal, making it a normal part of life. You know, the more time I spend around him where nothing bad happens, the more he gets to trust me. I'm going to put some more Green Horse Organics on this cut today too. It's looking lots better though. See if I can, all good. See if I can get both hands in his mane back here and do a little bit of braiding, because he really relaxed when I started doing that this morning. Go. One braid down. Can I maybe braid your forelock? Would that be okay? You say no, you don't want to look like a girl? With a face this handsome, no one could mistake you for a girl, I promise. Took the first braid out. That's just not fair. You can't shake out every single braid after I move on to the next one. You know how much work you're giving me? Huh? Let's move you to a different side. Can we move here? Swelling on his neck, that's gone down a lot, so that's another good sign. He must have just banged around and banged into a bunch of things when he was either loading or unloading or in the adoption pens. Did you bang into a bunch of things? You silly goofus. You silly goofus. I'm going to move his feet a little bit. got a snotty nose. Why you got a snotty nose, mister? No. Started getting pushy with his head, and then at one point he tried to nip at me, but he's lost his privileges of pushing that head into my personal space. That's okay. Let's try again. Oh. Oh. Okay, good boy. I know. It's scary stuff, buddy. I think he's about ready for a little break here. I'm just gonna see if I can put one more braid in his name. I know, lots of crazy stuff is happening. Maybe a couple more, huh? That sound good, buddy boy? Like I said, he's standing pretty still and quiet for this, meaning he's not snorting and he's not prancing around, but he's still not fully relaxed. First time I really saw him relax around me was this morning, and it was right after we finished. Big braid in his mane. He took a deep sigh, and you could see his eyes soften up, and his nose and his mouth stopped being all pinched together. A really exciting moment. Sometimes the exciting moments don't really look like that much. Good boy. Good boy. See how he spooked there when I picked my hand up, but he stayed with me? Really good work, buddy. He's starting to get the hang of this stuff. These older guys, though, they can be a bit of slow learners, but once they learn something, it really sticks with them. What a good boy you are. You're being such a good boy, mister. He's probably the most skittish Mustang I've had since Tuxedo. Tuxedo was way worse than him. Yeah, she was, buddy. I know it doesn't seem possible, but she was. We weren't to this point with Tuxedo for like at least 3 weeks before I could stand next to her and braid her mane. She was very slow to trust. Good boy. And you know, she was a yearling, so you can't always say the old ones are the hardest to train. The hardest one I ever trained was a yearling. There we go. How's that look, buddy? You like it? He's gonna get a little break now. Look at those handsome gelding braids. See how he's licking and chewing now? He's only done that by me once, and that was this morning when I was working on those braids. When a horse is licking and chewing, it means they released some tension. So he was holding in tension the entire time I was standing next to him braiding his mane. He was sitting there like with his face all clenched up, and he was ready to bolt at the first sign of danger, and he really didn't trust me. And then once I left, that's when he licked and chewed, because his source of fear was gone. I'm still a source of fear for him. Well, maybe not so much fear as apprehension. He's still not sure he can trust me. But this morning he actually found that release while I was still sitting there finishing up that braid. He sat there and released all that tension, which is huge that he did that right next to me, because it's meaning he's starting to trust me. So he works in baby steps, but I have no doubt we'll get there at some point or another. Hey, big boy. See, his source of tension came back. Well, I'm only going to work with this big guy about 25 more minutes. He kind of learns best in small doses, but I'm going to start introducing some of my haltering steps to him. Because as soon as that cut on his jaw heals up, I want to get right to haltering him. So for that, I start with a stick and string and do some of the stuff we've already worked on, and then you'll see the rest. Hey, buddy boy. Hey, Spooky Pants. Come back here, Spooky Pants. So the first thing I do to start getting ready for haltering, well, technically everything I've done up to this point has been getting ready for haltering, but you can't avoid it. Good, thank you. So, but one of the first real steps I take is rubbing him all over with the stick and string, and we've already done some of that. Just a little refresher. Good boy. But I'm going to be a lot more energetic about it. So right now, I wouldn't stand up next to him and, you know, move my arm up at him energetically like that. I wouldn't be so casual about it. But because he's so spooky, I'll be afraid of, well, not so much afraid, but it wouldn't be wise to do that so close to him. Because we have seen that when he gets uncomfortable, he can exhibit some aggressive behaviors. And I do think his discomfort was due to pain. So actually, I received a donation today that's going to help with that. A different donor than the one that allowed me to pick him up, but someone reached out to me wishing to donate a little bit towards this cause, and I'm able to order him some ulcer medications now, so that really helps out, and he's going to feel a lot better pretty soon, hopefully. So, if you're, by the way, I don't ever ask for donations because I don't technically need them, but if you'd like to help sponsor one of these Mustangs, you can always reach out to me by email. It's Camille, CAMILLE, MCC3 @hotmail.com if you'd like to reach out about helping one of these Mustangs. Like I said, I can afford their care by myself, but the donations do help. So I don't really ask for people to donate. I don't get horses without being able to afford them, but donations help because I am a student, and this is kind of my full-time gig, is being a student and working with Mustangs. So I don't have endless funds, but anyways, he's going to get some medicine soon, which will help him feel a lot better in that ouchie spot that I discovered yesterday. Now, since he's doing pretty good with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the string hanging, and this is going to be the very start to desensitizing to ropes. So before you put a halter on a horse, obviously they can't be spooking all over the place at ropes. I wasn't asking you to go. You thought I'm asking him to go. Nope, good boy. Good boy. So the difference between me asking him to go is when I want him to go, I'm just going to do it with this hand, not with the stick. I'm moving it rhythmically and I'm asking him to go and I'm pushing him with my body language. With this, I'm just kind of casually trying to drape it all over him. Good boy, hang on. May, you better watch out. Good. And then if he's spooky, I just follow him without pushing him until he comes and rests. So I just kind of bring it up and over, up and over, up and over, until he releases at least some of that tension, some of that uneasiness. So that's the difference between the sensitizing to this rope. We've done a little bit of sensitizing. He doesn't need a lot of work on it because he's pretty happy to go when I tell him to go. He's still apprehensive, so he's like, okay, I'll get out of your space. But with the sensitizing, I'm going to move this rope rhythmically, and I might even slap it against the ground to get him to go. And then once he goes, I stop moving that rope so much. And he gets a reward for going. Whereas when I'm desensitizing like this, I'm going to move it all over, but it's going to be lazy. I'm going to be lethargic. I'm telling him with my body language, this is nothing to worry about. And he's released a little bit of that tension now. So, you know, once he stands still and relaxes, that's when he gets the reward. So that's the difference between the two. I know there was some confusion in one of my Julius videos. Someone was saying, oh, well, you're using the stick to get him to stop, but you're also using the stick to get him to go. Well, the stick isn't telling him anything. The stick is just a tool. My body language is what's making the difference between, hey, stand there, be calm, and hey, go, get out of my space. You know, it's a difference in body language, not really a difference in what's in my hand. And he's actually doing really good at this. I'm impressed. Good boy. Yeah, so like I said, he's starting to understand the difference. I walk right up to him and I move this all over lazy. And I said, hey, stand still and accept this. He's like, I'm still nervous about it, but whatever you say. Whereas when I tell him to go, oops, I didn't mean to hit the tree there, but you get the idea. The pressure keeps on going until he moves out. Good. Ooh. Ooh. Good boy. See how he can kind of do both now? He's still learning the difference. But ideally, a horse should be able to do both. Good boy! Yeah, I wasn't aiming that far back, but I'm going to start throwing this over his wither areas, too. Good boy. Because when I halter a horse for the first time, I want to be able to go right up to them, throw that rope over their back, and put it on like it's no big deal. Obviously, he's not ready for that yet. But I'm hoping with all this preparation, his first haltering is not a big deal. Someone once told me, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, a horse's first haltering should be just as good as their last haltering. So imagine when this guy's 30, 35, even 40 years old, and He's getting haltered for the very last time. He's lived a long domestic life, and he's been haltered every day of his life. Imagine how good that haltering is going to be. He's going to be like, I know the drill. I've been doing this for decades. Well, I want him to stand just as still and accept it just as well when I go to halter him the very first time. Good boy. Who's a good boy? I'm going to step back, let him process that a little bit. It's so funny because he wants to be good, but he still, see, he just released some tension, but it was after what I was doing. Ideally, I want him to release his tension while I'm throwing this rope over his back, because that'll tell me that he fully accepts it. When he was standing there, I don't know if you can tell from the camera angle, but when he was standing there, he was kind of standing like half cocked. Like his legs were over here, his shoulders were over here. He was ready to move at any second if I just pop. You know, he's see how ready he is to take off and bolt? And you did such a good job of holding it in. You did such a good job. You know, that's the start to becoming trusting. Was he jumped in place there, but he didn't take off. If I had done that pop the first day, he would have taken off and maybe tried to charge out of the gate or out of the pen. So he's making good progress. It may not look like much, but I promise it's good progress. And I think I usually wait to do the desensitizing to me. With all my Mustangs, I do a little bit of desensitizing to me, where I kind of dance around, jump up and down. See how, see how he's so ready to move when I do something unpredictable? You know, I do a lot of desensitizing to me with a lot of these Mustangs. I don't think he's quite ready for it yet. I usually start when I have a halter on the horse, so I can kind of control their reaction a little bit. But, you know, I already am starting desensitizing to me. By throwing this rope over, I'm getting him used to, you know, some of my body motions. And by talking and making weird noises like, you know, he's not too scared of weird noises. But by acting casual around him, you know, I'm not here like, let's get this rope over your neck, horsey. No, I'm sitting here and I'm casually flinging this rope like we've done this a million times before. By acting casual, you know, I'm doing him a favor in the long run by getting him used to everything humans do. You know, we're weird to them. Mustangs are like, what the heck are those weird things? You know, you take it for granted if you have only ever been around domestic horses who have been around people since the day they were born. But these Mustangs really do have to get to know us as much as we have to get to know them. Good boy. What a good boy you are. You know, and he's still holding tension. I bet he licks and chews here in a second. Are you going to lick and chew? Or are you going to make me a liar? You're going to make me a liar, aren't you, buddy? Well, okay then. Maybe he wasn't holding that much tension. Alright, come on. Gotta relax. Gotta release. He's a lot less snorty now than he was before, that's for sure. Good boy. Who's a good boy? You're doing so good, mister. Good. I can even fling this around his hindquarters a little bit. He's really starting to understand the rules. That's what I'm saying. He's not a tough horse as in you teach him something and he doesn't remember it, or you teach him something and it won't sink in. Everything's sinking in really well. He just still has a mental block. You know, something deep, deep down inside of him is hardwired to be like, okay, you know, we're following her rules, but the second she sneezes, we're out of here. You know, he still hasn't fully come around to me. But he's understanding the rules so well, and he's trying so hard to be brave. He is. I really like this horse, and I know he's going to come around and be something awesome. Aren't you? Don't make me a liar now. I swear, if you make me a liar again, that's it. I'm sending you back to the BLM. I'm just kidding. Don't take me too seriously, guys. I like to have fun with this crap. Good boy. He's doing really good today. I think he's about ready to be done today. Are you about ready to be done today, mister? Let's see if I can fling this around your legs a little bit. Oh, oh, oh. Good boy. Good boy. See what I mean? Oh, well, he's making me a liar. But he's starting to understand the rules. Let's do this. I'm going to desensitize him to this rope moving around like this. And this kind of looks like a spooky snake to him. I'm just going to keep doing this until he stands still. Good boy. And then I'll back off of this a little bit. And I'll come in again. And I'll just wait right here, kind of at the edge of his comfort zone. Good boy, that's a little better. Really even just softens his expression a little bit. Key to working with this guy is going to be paying attention to the little things he does to say that he's a little more relaxed than before. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? So see how reactive he is to this flinging around his legs? I want to get all of that out before I really start to work on touching his feet with my hands. Because I don't want him to have some big reaction while I'm trying to pick up his foot for the first time and my head is down there. That's the last thing I want. See, bud. See, okay, so now I can say he's really starting to understand the rules, because even though he doesn't like this, he's still making an effort to try and accept it. He's still thinking, oh, hey, you know, my first reaction was to run away from this, but that doesn't always work. You know, she's always found a way to keep with me when I try and run away from things like this. So let me try standing still and see if that works. And while he's standing still, he's realizing that this isn't hurting him. It's not that bad. And then when he stands really well, I go ahead and I take the pressure away, and he's going, aha! So if I just stand there long enough and pretend I don't care about this, eventually it's going to go away. Isn't that right, buddy? Let's try it from this side. Good boy. Good boy. Like I said, these old guys, you know, he's only 6, he's not old at all, but he is a lot more mentally mature and a lot less impressionable than a young horse. These old guys learn the rules pretty fast. It's just getting them to come around to you that can be the hard part. And that's not a set rule at all. That's just a huge generalization. What a good boy you're being. Can I stroke your face? What a good boy you're being. Good boy. He's doing really good. He's really progressing in leaps and bounds. But I feel like there's going to be a certain point where he just gives all in, and then it's going to be downhill from there. That's usually, not always, that's usually how it works for these skittish Mustangs. You know, Julius was a tiny bit skittish at first. You know, they're all a little bit skittish at first. And Julius, on, like, by the end of day 2, when I was grooming him all over, he was just like, okay, I give in. This isn't so bad. And you know, this guy's a long ways from that point. But it's gonna happen. And sometimes it's not a specific moment. Sometimes it's like over the course of a day or of a week. But it'll happen. You know, Tuxedo, hers was over the course of like a year. It took her probably a year to always be relaxed around me. You know, she'd relax, but the second I went, blah! You know, she'd do that stuff. She'd jump in one spot. And she'd never leave me, but she was just so jumpy. But, you know, it took probably a year of me just like doing normal weird things around her and, you know, expecting her to be fine, keeping on throwing her in situations where she has to learn. You know, I'd never say, oh, he's spooky, we can't take him anywhere. Oh, he's scared, we won't work on the trailer because he's scared of it. Like, no. You gotta expect something from them for them to get somewhere. Like right now, I didn't even think about doing this. I just started doing this. Like, you can't watch what you do around them constantly. You should always be aware, of course. I'm not going to go sit behind his back legs and start flinging this rope all around. But, you know, if you put certain expectations on them, eventually they're going to rise to meet them. Are you being a good boy? You're being such a good boy. I think what we're going to do now is give him a little break and then work on one big thing. So, here's the big thing for today. I want to see just where we're at with this. So I'm not actually going to put it on. I just want to walk up, pretend like I'm throwing the halter on a normal horse, and see where his point of discomfort is. So, here we go. Hey, big boy. You gonna sniff it first? Yeah, go on and check it out. You're such a good boy. So I'm going to swing this like the other rope. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That was actually really good. Teach this is by just putting the halter on. In theory, if he was perfect, I'd just go up, put the halter on like I would any other horse. So that's what I do. I go up here, walk up, throw it on. You know, and he was a little bit spooky about that, so that's kind of a point of resistance. So I do it like normal, but then I'll probably reach a point of resistance. So something that needs to be practiced. When I reach that point, I don't go any further. I stay on that one thing. And I practice it. Can you put your nose out of my space, please? Thank you, mister. So I practice it here until he gives me a good release. Hey, dude. Seriously, with the nose. It's getting a little annoying, buddy. Good boy. That's pretty good. I'll go up again. I'll walk up. And it's a normal horse. Throw it on over. That was actually really good besides the snorting. So then we move on to the next step. Next step is, get this thing, fling it over like that. Also really good. He's not really head shy, which makes this easy. But, mister, what did we say about your nose in my space? Then, go ahead and put this on, and if he didn't have that cut on his neck, I'd tie it like it was a normal halter, but he does. So this actually looked really easy. He's pretty spooky about it, though. He's internalizing a lot of things. So he's sitting there like, I don't like this. And you know, he's still flighty. Good boy. But he tries his hardest to be a good boy. So, it's actually really good. And then I would just go ahead and tie it. If you want to see what this process would look like in a more head-shy horse, Julius was actually way worse at this to begin with. So go ahead and check out, we worked on this a lot on day one. So go ahead and check out that video. But yeah, go up, throw it over like a normal horse, sniff it, nose. Do the throat latch like a normal horse, put it over, voila, and then I just go ahead and tie it. You know, like I said, I tie this on. I probably could have done this yesterday if I'd hadn't had to doctor this crap on his jaw. But you know, I don't want to tie this on, and you know, I want to give him the best chance that he can to learn leading without it being stressful. And having it push on a boo-boo on his neck is going to make this painful and stressful for him. So I'd rather set him up for success by waiting until this is all cleared up. But I do generally try and get a halter on as soon as possible, because you never know if you're going to have your horse 1 week and you haven't done anything with them. Maybe you're letting them settle in and your horse gets in an accident and needs veterinary attention. Well, if you haven't been handling them, there's no way you're going to get them on the trailer or get a vet out to come handle them. Whereas if you know, for example, Julius, by the end of week 1, he was wearing saddles and visiting places and going all over the place. If 1 week after I had got Julius, he'd gotten injured, he would have had no problem seeing a vet and getting the care he needed. So I always try and bring them along as quick as possible. I don't like to spend long periods of time letting them settle in. Generally, just 24 hours even. This guy took 24 hours to kind of settle into his environment. You know, he's still not sure about me, but he's pretty comfortable in this pen, and he knows where his food bucket is, he knows where his water is. That's all they need. I don't spend like a month getting them to settle in. Some people take years getting them to settle in. No, I don't have anything against people who want to do that, really, but that's just not the way I do things. Anyways, I think we're about done with him today. He's done a really, really fantastic job today. He's still leery of me, but he's learning the rules, and he's trying so very hard, despite the fact that his instincts are still telling him to spook, or still telling him that I'm not safe. You know, he's working really hard to overcome them. So I hope this video is really informational for you guys. If you're working with a skittish horse, it doesn't have to be a Mustang, make sure you take a watch at all his videos. And if you've got one that's maybe more head shy or more friendly, but you're not really sure how to handle them, go watch my Julius videos. If you've got one that's super stubborn, like super crazy stubborn, go watch my Jude videos, because I have a pretty, you know, I wasn't as good back then as I am now at getting the content and editing it, but that's a pretty good series to watch as well. A lot of people have followed and loved the Jude series. In fact, a lot of you watching probably found me from my Jude series or from me and Jude on Instagram. So go give those playlists a watch as well. I try and keep them all in different playlists. I've got this guy's playlist, I've got Julius's playlist, even Aurora and Tuxedo have their playlists, although I don't have a lot of gentling videos on either of them, because I wasn't as big back then as I am now, even though I'm not, you know, big yet. But I feel like I'm doing way too much talking, so I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you for watching this video. If you can, please give it a like and a subscribe, and share this video. Share it to Facebook, share it to Twitter, share it to whatever social media, even email it to your friends, because that really helps me out. The more people I get watching my videos, the more money I get coming in from those ads that YouTube puts in. I know everyone hates the ads, but they really help me to be able to take care of my animals and to be able to get more Mustangs into homes. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.